Hey world. All right, so this live is particularly, specifically, and only for the married. Even if you're engaged to be married, you are welcome to listen in and let God minister to you. My name is Gabrielle. Welcome, married people, engaged people, if you want to. If the Lord is leading you here to listen, it's for His reason. So, what I wanted to do to the married is just give you a sample, quote unquote, of the root of what's on this page I've created for you concerning married couples. It's called Song of Solomon here on Facebook. Song of Solomon. That's the name of the page for the married people, where there's healing on that page, creative, strategic, anointed, transparent ideas to bring restoration, healing, deliverance, rejuvenation, a refreshing to your sexual intimacy, to your marriage. But it starts off with one of the roots to the issues of divorce rates in marriages, whether in church or not: sexual intimacy. Sexual intimacy. Sexual intimacy. Okay, so that's the first area that God has me targeting for you married people, is sexual healing. Why? That's one of the areas that Satan has been very successful in destroying marriages in, because most adults, even in church, praise God, has not faced and embraced and started on or either overcome what happened to their sexuality, the purity of their sexuality throughout their childhood. Some of you, if you're married, you're not even experiencing sexual intimacy with transparency in your marriage in deeper depths, higher heights, longer lengths, and wider widths of love. You're not experiencing that in its totality. You're suffering. Your sex life in your marriage is anorexic, okay? It's starving, it's malnutrition, you know? So this is just a live to share with you some things. And hopefully you'll go on over there and check out the page that I've created for you all that's married. The reason why the Lord has me first dealing with that area, because you need restoration somewhere. You need some healing somewhere. You need some new ideas, creative ideas from someone that's anointed in that area of marriage ministry. And so with that being said, one thing I've learned that is, when you don't face something, the roots of it, through the one who created you, which is God, you're going to fail immeasurably. You'll make things worse. You'll end up becoming the problem or the enemy in the situation, even in your marriage. And so one thing I'll say with that, when it comes to the area of sexual intimacy, into me, my spouse see. Into me, my spouse sees. What do you see? See, that's the thing. Can you all even sexually see the root and discern each other sexually? What is the roots to why? Are you someone in your marriage, when it comes to sexual intimacy, you can't be touched in certain places? You flinch, or you don't like doing doggy style, or you don't care for oral sex because you was forced to do oral sex when you was molested? You know, if you've been molested, raped, even if you're someone that constantly got mishandled and mistreated when you were, in other relationships or just growing up throughout your childhood sexually, you should be by now in your marriage letting God do the work in you. And prayerfully, you have a spouse who's also willing to have God as the root, source, and foundation, even in that area too. Because you can choose to take a Bugatti vehicle to a Nissan Altima dealership, but there's nothing they can do. They're going to even suggest and tell you, you have to take that particular vehicle to the ones who made it and created it. They know what to do. They don't. They're Nissan. You brought to them a Bugatti. What am I saying, married couples? The institution of marriage was created, established, and founded by God, capital G-O-D. You going to Ayanla, a psychic, a palm reader, whoever, your culture beliefs, that's going to do nothing but cause your sexual intimacy in your marriage to need a godly tune-up. The transmission of your marriage is going to be suffering, okay? Under the hood, quote unquote, of your marriage, your sexual intimacy is going to be suffering indefinitely, okay? Because you got to choose with conviction to let God expose the truth of why you all are malnutrition in your sexual intimacy, what's the problems with the sexual intimacy, and why you're not experiencing it according to Ephesians 3:20, above and beyond what you can ask, think, and imagine. That's important because why do you think Satan attacks us in our childhood concerning sex? It's so you don't get to experience the beauty, the sensuality, the eroticism, the romanticism, okay? The loving side, the transparency, and the raw, unfiltered beauty of sexual intimacy in marriage, because Satan already knows a lot of things about that God created. He knows that sex is only for marriage. So his tactic and his clever, demonic, evil, wicked, diabolical, hurtful, and tragic tactic is when you're in your youth, meaning whoever is raising you, who's supposed to protect you, okay, and they did not, if they're not doing their part according to the Bible, he comes in, and one of his greatest, heaviest, successful tactics for decades has been what? Molesting you sexually, distorting your sexuality, contaminating it, perverting it, robbing you of the purity of your sexuality through molestation, through your body parts being sexually tampered with, even with objects when you were just a little boy, a little girl. And a lot of you, he did it repeatedly, like you didn't even get a break. Hence, this is the reason why God said tackle this area first until he says enough. Because you need to somewhere be restored in your sexuality. You need your purity back in its totality. So that when your spouse wants to open them legs or get between your legs, you spread them wide like the Red Sea. Married people now. Okay? When your spouse wants to lick on you or do oral sex on you down there, you free. You free to experience the beauty of sexuality and to be releasing like an overflow as the woman, as his virtuous wife. Okay? And let the floodgates open up. You're free. Because see, you're within your rights because your sexuality is being opened up where it's supposed to be in. You're experiencing it in the right place, in marriage, where it was only meant to be experienced at with according to God, the one who is the founder, the creator, the establisher of sex and the institution of marriage. It was never God's will. He would never want you to get molested. He would never sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm glad you got molested. God is not like that. To encourage you. Another thing to concerning married people is I want to lovingly suggest, if you're struggling with actually taking a stand against what Satan did to you and your sexuality throughout your childhood, through molestation, sexually tampering with you, people using objects on you repeatedly, males and females who did it to you, friends of the family, family members, people you went to school with. If you do want to experience sexual intimacy in your marriage the way God intended married people, married couples, even if you're engaged, I lovingly suggest, if you're struggling with taking a stand against Satan with that, ask your spouse to stand with you. If both of you are struggling, seek God, sit together, and tell God what's on your heart. I guarantee you God will move drastically. I guarantee it. No doubt in my mind about it. No unbelief about it. Because God said it. He said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, there he is in the midst. God didn't even want those things to happen to your sexuality. That breaks his heart. That grieves God above and beyond what you can think or imagine. But what makes him smile is when you take a stand against Satan and realize that what Satan did against you, you have every right in your free will to make him pay and get your back pay sexually and interest in your marriage and begin to experience sexual purity, sexual intimacy, okay? The way God intended, to your favor sexually. Okay? So also too, when it comes to this area, if you're someone, if you're a spouse, or excuse me, if both of you have been sexually molested and tampered with, sexually abused so much in your life, I want to encourage you, if you don't mind, if you will, let God in. Let him help you all and become and be loved with each other, meaning be patient with the process, be kind, and I'm not trying to be explicit, but we have to go there. If your wife, if she's not comfortable with you fingering her, don't do it. Ask her, even if you have to stop right there in the middle of what you all doing and say, do you want me to pray with you now, or what's comfortable for you? Where can I touch you at? What is off limits? What is safe grounds? What is open to me sexually? What's not open to me sexually? Okay? Because she might not even like you grabbing her breast, because when she got molested, the person slapped her breast, used objects on her breast, whatever body part that was sexually demonically tormented and harassed sexually, that person, while they're in the healing process and deliverance process, they may not want you to go there. Okay? So we'll call that caution zone, danger zone. Okay? So, excuse me, I encourage you as a married couple, create those safe spaces and be patient with each other and ask each other, okay, what would you like to do? Because to be honest, you're going to have to pray and fast. Okay? And it's even better when you do it together. It's even better when you do it together. It's even better when you do it together. Okay? You're going to have to pray and fast, because some demons, because of how they came in, especially if it runs strong in your bloodline with molestation, incest, rape, abortions, you're going to have to pray and fast. There's nowhere around it, because that demon won't go. It won't move until you stick with prayer and fasting. Okay? So with that being said, communication is key. If you don't know how to communicate, you're more than welcome to message me. I don't mind. Anytime, married couples, you can message me. If God leads you to me, I don't mind. You all in my prayers. Another thing is, if you don't know how to communicate or word things to your spouse or each other, pray. Say, Holy Spirit, help us how to talk to each other, Just, and it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be shy and bashful. Like, oh my God, I don't know how to say I don't want to suck on him tonight. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go down there and put my mouth on his, so it's like, you don't got to be vulgar or pornographic with it. It's like, just, I don't want to do oral sex tonight, babe. Or if you mind if I don't. And, it's okay if you're comfortable with them digging. Ask them, is it okay? Can I dig? And ask why? Why you don't want to, what's going on? I'm not trying to be offensive, but I just want to know so I can understand how to flow with you. See what I'm saying? Because people, we're always changing. And then the body is always changing. And when a person is going through their healing and deliverance process, it's definitely going to be an emotional roller coaster, because the ugly stuff that you've buried in your subconscious that happened to you sexually as a child, you thought that it was just dead. That thing was underneath your subconscious brain, stored, waiting to be resuscitated. So now that God is healing you and helping you to face this stuff with your spouse, your suitable partner, this stuff has to come up and out, even of your subconscious, anywhere where you had it deeply rooted in your soul, wherever, your emotions, all the ugly stuff, the hurt, the pain is coming up and out. And so it's going to definitely be an emotional, beautiful roller coaster of healing and deliverance, so that you can begin to experience sexual intimacy the way God intended, so that you can see into them and they can see into you. Okay? Another thing with sexual intimacy, I want to encourage you with this, is it doesn't start out outwardly physically first. Sexual intimacy starts off inwardly, mentally, spiritually. That's why it's so powerful when you have a divine connection from God with that person, because you can just look at them and boom, it'll shift them too, So, and even if you all got married and you weren't saved, if you want to start now, you know what I mean? Like letting God in, that's good. Nothing wrong with that. Actually, that would be wise, because this institution you're in, it came from God. He created it. And what better way to let him be the root, source, and foundation, even in your sexual intimacy? Blow your mind. Okay, so that's what I share with you too. Another nugget you'll see on the married couples page I have called Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon. Okay, sexual intimacy, the purity, it starts mentally. Okay, I even have creative games on there that I've come up with for married couples. One game I have is called Naked Twister. That one I'm gonna put up there maybe tonight. I got some ideas with that for you married couples. Naked Twister. Okay. And another game I have is the games I have is about you being naked with each other. That's so key and important. But nakedness first starts mentally. So, another loving suggestion for you married couples and knowledge for you and wisdom and understanding is instead of always being so quick, especially if you're a man, to be aroused physically, first, go the other route with that. Cause a mindgasm. Woo! A mindgasm. A mindgasm. Okay? Meaning, just sit there. And fellas, if you don't know what to do, hey, God is the truth. Holla at your boy God. He'll help you because he knows her better than you. He created your virtuous wife. He created your suitable partner. He knows what to say to you to get her started because we love what we hear as women. So, and eye contact is very powerful. You can stare at a woman, your virtuous wife, very lovingly, or whatever look you know she loves that drives her crazy. Just stare and say, "How was your day, babe? How you feeling?" So just that. Conversation stimulate the mind. Vocabulary stimulate the mind. Okay? When you're digging, dig in and through love mentally. Be discerning her. Be discerning each other. Okay? Be picking up off each other's energies, the vibes and personalities. Be very discerning. Discerning will show you the roots to your spouse. You can feel it spiritually. And if you want to, in your mind, within yourself, Holy Spirit, help me to discern. Help me to see. Tell me some stuff about my spouse to get them, stimulated and have a mindgasm. So sexual intimacy first starts mentally, mindgasm. What begins to happen here when that mental engine starts going and you open up the vulva, the vulva of the mind. Flow with me. Yes, I did say that, married couples. When you open up and spread the mind, what happens? It begins to penetrate the heart. The heart. Causing a heartgasm. The hearts. Causing a heartgasm. And you know what's in the heart. Okay? So, once you penetrate here, all right, stuff start getting downloaded there. And the heart starts beating fast for love. Sexual intimacy. Folks start getting hot. No more menopause. Don't feel no kind of pauses. We ready to go. Okay? Stuff start happening. And pay attention to the signs. Because the body now is starting to come into agreement. Because it started where here. The root is mental orgasm. Mindgasm. Then things begin to flow here. It's a trinity. Watch what I'm going to do. It starts here, married couples. Where you start stimulating and stirring and arousing concerning sexual intimacy your spouse in marriage. As they're digesting this and you've opened up the vulva of the brain. Flow with me, visualize. And you're penetrating. It goes down here to the heart. And then that heart says, yes, I'm in agreement. I do. I say I do to that proposal. Yes. So when two in agreement, okay, here come the Trinity. The third thing that happens, because once you touch the heart, you got them. Once it gets to the heart, you got them. When it gets to the heart, everything within the body physically spreads out and shoots forth physically to where you can also have a bodygasm. I did say that. Married couples. That's why this live is only for married couples. A bodygasm. Okay? Which then causes what? The sexual organs, you know what I mean, to orgasm. Okay? So with that being said, but you have to be And if you need practice with it, that's okay. That's normal. It's okay. Everything is a process and requires love. Love is patient. Love is kind. And remember, everything starts with the mind. With love and kindness do you draw the mind. With love and kindness do you touch the heart. And with love and kindness do you reach every part. So remember that. Remember that. That'll help you. And if you need more deep, in-depth details concerning sexual intimacy for the married couples, I have a page, or you can message me privately, married couples, engaged couples. I have a page called Song of Solomon. I'm Gabrielle. I look forward to this journey with those of you who are going to be assigned to me to get help in your marriage, so you can be the example of what a godly kingdom marriage is. Why God created marriage. You can be the excellent example and representation of that. Remember, it takes time. It's a process. It's a process. Have fun with it. Embrace the mistakes you're going to make along the way, because sexual intimacy is an area that heavily needs to be restored, redeemed, renewed, refreshed, and rejuvenated in most marriages. How do I know this? Because of what God has revealed, and because Satan targets and attacks our sexuality the most. That's one of the areas that he's been very successful with in our childhood. And that's an area that is why divorce rates have been so high, with adulteries, people going all kind of ways sexually with every which gender sexually, and breaking their covenant in their marriage. Sexual perversions, their sexuality has yet to be restored, redeemed, rejuvenated, refreshed, and made whole, and healed, and delivered from being distorted, perverted, raped, mishandled, mistreated in their childhood. So again, I'm Gabrielle. This is for married couples. Check out the page, Song of Solomon. Reach out to me anytime, married couples, engaged couples. I would love to answer any questions you may have, any thoughts, any suggestions. If you have something you want to hear me touch on concerning your marriage, let me know. I'm here for it, anointed for it. I thank God for this journey with you all. Look forward to seeing those of you all who I will be led to come see, and do whatever God says do concerning your marriage. I love you. Till next time, married couples. Hey, in God's will is the best way to do marriage. Love you all.